If you're in Arizona or the surrounding areas, typically I find that there's clumps of states that mix together and you're looking for the best car insurance companies out there. Today we're going to go over the top 10 for Arizona specifically, but to be honest with you, it follows through to most of the states around that area. We're going to go over the pros and cons to each of them, and let's go through some of the benefits and features that you may want. That means the right fit company may not be the best price company. It might be that you want extra features that a certain company offers that some don't. Coming in at number 10 is Auto Owners. They are from WalletHub, says that they are one of the more competitive companies in the state of Arizona, but also fair with claims processing, which I honestly can back that up. I have seen fairly good reviews on them. They've been a decent company. They're harder to get appointed with, which means the agencies that get appointed with them are going to take a little bit better care of that type of customer if you're looking for that type of quality. Now, they work with independent agents, which is the companies that usually shop across multiple. You're going to see probably half of these companies, an independent agent can shop with one phone call. So finding a local independent agent might be the best fit for you in these scenarios. That's also the con. It is an agent sales model. So when you're buying and servicing this policy, it's done through that independent agent. So if you don't trust the agent that you're looking to go with, then it might not be a good fit because that agent also is the one recommending coverage. And if you purchase the wrong coverage, it's not so much on the agent, even though it's a bad look for them, it's on you as well as the consumer because it's your responsibility to choose and purchase the coverages that you want. The pro to that is that local agency is the opposite. If they have the right agent, by the way, if you are looking for one of those agents, I'll put a link in the description below where you can fill out a quote and work with some of those agents that can shop the majority of these companies. If you are looking for car insurance, go ahead and fill that out. But that agent is also on the positive end going to hopefully spend the time to look at your policy, not just copy quotes and copy prices and try to get to the cheapest thing. They should be evaluating your scenario and seeing what are the best coverages and which companies are going to be the best fit for you specifically. That brings us to number 9, which is American Family. And American Family is not with independent agencies, so they're one of those fits if you want just, I call it a bland product. There's nothing wrong with it. They just don't have any of those extra benefits, those tie-in features, to where the con of going with them is their regional availability. For one, they're not in all the states, in all the areas, so if you are in those surrounding areas, you may not get as good at pricing because their product might be not best fit for that area. The benefit is they are doing some sort of telematics that can get you a discount, and they do combinations. So if you're looking for that home and auto product to where you can get that additional discount by combining everything, that is one of the options that you have. The con to that is that they are themselves. So they're what they call an exclusive agency where they only sell the one product. So if they're not competitive, they're not going to be able to compare other options for you. So you're not going to get those options available. Coming in at number 8 is Farmers Insurance. And I actually have a love-hate relationship with them. I like them as a company. They've been good overall. I think their reputation is really good. The dislike is, again, they're the exclusive agency. So most farmers agents, they can only sell the one product. And it's a 50-50. I've had good experiences with some of those agents. I've had bad experience with some of those agents to where they understand what they're doing, the product that you need as a customer. And then the other half, I've seen it where they've not been good. They're just trying to get the cheapest price. And I've kind of lived that. I spent the first 7 years of my life being under that farmer's agency household. And it was good and bad. Another con is they typically have higher premiums. Farmers, because they are a decent company, and that's what you're going to find, you get what you pay for, is going to be a little bit higher cost. They are going to offer the homeowner's product, and they're a little bit above that typical bland company where they're going to offer a few extra benefits to where you can have more coverage. And there's a premium with it. That's the con of the whole thing, is that you don't necessarily get the best pricing. The benefits is they offer vanishing deductible, which is a pretty rare for some of the companies. Some of them don't do that piece. And they also offer claims forgiveness in that state. They have a few other extra features where it's that one-stop shop where you can do the home and the auto. I don't know if they're doing renters right now in Arizona specifically, but typically you could do renters and the auto with it, so it combines, gives you that additional discount, just like we mentioned with American Family. That leads us into number 7, which is Allstate. And Allstate is one of those brands, if they're competitive, great. They're a good company. They are above the fold. They're just like Farmers, in my opinion. They have a really competitive. Again, they're not independent with most areas, if I'm not mistaken. In Arizona specifically, they don't have many independent agents. Although in states like Michigan and Virginia and Texas and all of those states, the Allstate brand is open to independent agents. So that one agent can shop across that policy to compare not just the Allstate brand, but the Nationwides and the Safecos and the National General and all of those other pieces that might be a comparable fit. Now, according to NerdWallet, it is a lower experience. The average experience in this specific state is showing that, according to JD Power, that their reviews on the overall experience is below average, which means that agent isn't jumping over the moon to work with you. And to be honest with you, the agent should be. If they want that type of client and they want to have that relationship, they should be creating some sort of experience that makes it simple and easy for you to understand, but also gives you the coverage that you need. I get it. We want to get our insurance and walk away as quick as possible, pay the bill, and hopefully never have a claim. If that's the scenario, Allstate might be a little bit tougher to go with just because of those experience reviews. The uniqueness or the positive to Allstate is they have that vanishing deductible, where if you don't have claims, they lower your deductible on your comprehensive and your collision over time. That's something that a few of these companies do, to where if you are a good driver, they start giving you benefits for being a good driver. They have the Driveways program, which is a telematics. If you're willing to give up some of your data, there's an additional discount that you can get 10, 15, sometimes even 20% off without having to do your homeowners or your renter's insurance with it. So you can even add that on top of those discounts to get even better deals. Now, honestly, most of these companies do that, but in this scenario, it's a good fit. I've got a video at the end I'll link if you're interested in the Allstate product, to where you can look at the Driveways that we've reviewed. Number 6 is USAA. They are usually at the leaderboard of most companies. Again, they're not independent, so they're on their own. They are really good for customer service, at least in the last, if you look at the last 5 years, they've been really good overall. If you look at the last 2 years, the con is their reviews have been lower than normal. So a lot of people are saying the prices have gone skyrocketing, and a lot of people have said that in general that they're just not getting a good customer service. I've got a specific video on this channel. If you are thinking USAA is the fit, then go ahead and check that video out before you purchase anything with them. The other piece is you have to be part of the military. That's the con to that. The benefit is there are discounts. So if you're active military, they have special coverages that if the car's on the base and you have to go on leave, then there's extra extensions on that coverage to where they know you're not going to renew the policy, and it's not just going to cancel for no reason. Number 5, which is topping the charts in a lot of areas right now, is Nationwide. Nationwide is that overall good fit for most customers. You want that big brand, that's Nationwide. You want the competitor to that, that's Safeco. Those two companies, in my opinion, should be on this list. But in general, those options are going to be really good fits because they give you better pricing for having a large product. And why do you want a large product? The large brand means that they have more insureds, they have more customers. That means that if there's claims, you're less likely going to see those rate increases. So they're going to be more competitive on pricing because they have so many customers, and they're a lot more lenient with some of the coverages. So there's these gray areas where we're not sure if you're covered, or you should be covered, or you might be covered. In some cases, your cheaper companies, this is why you say you get what you pay for, will just say, no, we're not covering that. It wasn't specifically listed. Where companies like Nationwide and Safeco or Liberty Mutual, those guys are going to say, sure, we know that you're paying a premium. We want that customer review, and we want that good experience for you. So paying that extra $3,000, $5,000, sometimes $20,000 bill is worth it to us, because we'd rather have you covered and you're paying for that than not covered. But on top of it, again, you're getting the good pricing for having that large brand and being able to use it as you need it. Some of the cons is a lot of these guys don't offer ride shares. So if you're doing Uber or Lyft, the Nationwide brand isn't going to be a good fit. They also don't like you to have salvage vehicles. So if you have a car that was totaled and repurposed, then you can't typically insure it with them. Now, if you total the car with them, it's a different story, but going to them as a new company is not going to be a great fit. The unique pieces is something that you're probably not watching this video for, but if you're what's called a non-owner, so if you don't actually own a car, but you have to have insurance or want to carry insurance just because you drive other people's cars, then they offer those products. So it's something unique that Nationwide does that could be a benefit for those that need it. They also do a lower mileage program. So if you want to pay a lower base fee, they have something called Smart Miles. And that Smart Miles is going to be a base that's lower cost. And if you're driving really low miles, you're going to pay the per mile, kind of like leasing a vehicle, but you're not going to pay as much because you're not driving as much. The only negative to that is if you drive a ton 1 month, then you're going to pay more. So that's based on what you think you're going to drive overall. Anything less than 5,000 miles per year is going to be a good fit. They are independent, so these agents that do the multiple quotes that are in the link in the description below, they can shop the Nationwide. They can also shop the number 4 slot, which is Travelers Insurance. Travelers Insurance has most of the things that you need. They've got the gap insurance, they have the vanishing deductibles, they have the accident forgiveness, just like Nationwide does, but they're also really competitive in Arizona specifically. Their pricing model is geared towards your home and auto, so if you have the home and the auto, their credit carries over from one to the other. So when you have claims on the auto, claims on everything else, that usually carries from your auto to your home and can affect it. So if you're a good driver, don't have a ton of claims, have a really good insurance score, then you're going to be a good fit for Travelers. If not, then you're going to lean towards more of the Progressive/Nationwide companies because those are going to be better priced. Number 3 is the big guy, that's State Farm, and they've been in the news a lot more on the negative side than the positive, but they are competitive in Arizona, mainly because they are that big brand. They're the biggest brand as far as the personal product goes, typically homeowners, and they're going to have a larger footprint. You would think that they're less expensive, but in most cases, if you read the reviews from NerdWallet and Bankrate, they're more expensive. So they rely on their brand name to have you purchase a policy. Again, that's not necessarily a negative. That means that they do hold a good customer satisfaction. So if you do go with them, you're going to get the good experience if the agent is a good fit, because they are not an independent agency. They work directly on their own, so they only offer the one product, and if they're really good in experience, then you're going to have a really good experience with that one agency. If they're not competitive, you won't know because they don't have other options to show you. A few of the negatives that you'll see online if you do some of the research is that they are known for being very picky on roofs. So if you're doing your home with it, I know it's a car insurance talk, but they are a little bit less likely to pay a claim because they are individually inspecting it. They spend a little bit more time focusing on what the scenario was to see if they should be covering it. Positive is they offer Drive Safe and Save, I think it's called, or DriveWise. It might be the same thing, similar to Allstate. They have an app that can track your driving. So if you are a good driver, you can show proof and you can get a pretty good discount. Now I've got an older video on this channel that goes over that product. So if you want to review it, I doubt it's changed much and maybe we'll make an updated version of it. But if you are interested in that, go ahead and check that video out on this channel. It's probably one of the most watched videos on this channel just because State Farm is so large. People are constantly asking, is it worth it? You give up a lot of data, at least when we researched it, you did, but they overall were a decent fit for most customers. Number 2 is the big guy, also the next competitor to State Farm, Geico Insurance. Geico Insurance, if you're looking for specifically auto insurance, they are going to be one of the most competitive on prices. The other part is they're what I call a middle brand. They don't care so much if you have a claim. They don't care if you had a lapse. They don't care as much if you have a ticket. Now, everyone cares if you have 5 tickets and 5 accidents, those that matters, right? Your profile makes up your pricing. They do care more about if you're a good fit, which in their spectrum is usually most people. They have a home product with some scenarios, but they don't necessarily sell it themselves. So that's one of the negatives to Geico is if you're looking to combine your home and auto, you might have the home with a separate company that is tied to theirs, but it's not directly tied to that policy. So you'll still get the discount, but it might be a different company that you're working with. The benefit is Geico, that used to be called Government Employee Insurance Company, I believe it was for. They've opened up the doors decades ago to where everyone can join them. They have opened up that option and they are just competitive. Their digital tech is just as good as everybody else. Honestly, I think most of these companies across the board have really good apps, really good tracking, all of those pieces that you would want to have with a policy. But Geico is really known for having some of that high tech. And the number 1 top company, which leave me in the comments below if you agree or disagree, I actually agree, is Progressive Insurance, because if you're looking specifically for auto, sometimes home, similar scenario, they kind of have an off-brand renters and homeowners policy, even though they bought the company that was that off-brand, so they are a little bit more tied than Geico is. Progressive is one of the most competitive pricing. Now, I personally don't believe in what they advertise as far as the name your own price tool, save 15 minutes, that same thing for Geico, those quick quotes. And when they let you do them online, I think you should still talk to an agent for 2 reasons. One, that agent is going to look over the policy. So if coverage is also a factor, it's not just the cheapest price. If it's just the cheapest price, go direct to them. Go to geico.com, go to progressive.com, go to allstate.com. They usually offer product quotes quotes, but you're only quoting with their direct company. So when you're not going to an independent agent, you're not checking Nationwide and Geico and Progressive and Travelers all in one swoop. You're individually checking their prices. Typically, they'll be competitive, but you won't know if they were the most competitive. The second reason that I don't like that option is because most people don't know what coverages they have. And when you look at the reviews, they're not great. Most of these companies have bad reviews, but it's because either the agent didn't know what they were talking about, which is honestly something that the industry should be working on fixing, or the customer went online and bought their own product and they just picked the cheapest option. Yes, I know the companies are going to recommend packages. You want good, better, and best. And usually when you say good, you want to see what that is. Prices are great, but you also get what you pay for. So in these scenarios, you got to be mindful of what you're looking for. Let me know in your comments below, did we miss a company that should have been on this list? I'd say Liberty Mutual should be in this mix. One company that I didn't see on here was Hartford, which I wish would have been in here as well. They're not as well known, so they're not going to have as big of a customer fit. But in general, you're going to see Progressive be one of the better companies. Geico be also competitive in pricing. Nationwide is the good overall best fit. State Farm is that big name brand, followed by Allstate and Farmers. Those would be the ones that I personally would start to at least involve in looking into. Now, when you are going to talk to these companies, you're going to need to know what are the best prices that you can get. So we need to know what discounts you qualify for. The top 10 discounts that you're looking for are going to be here. If you're not familiar with the coverages that you should be carrying, I've got my Car Insurance 101 that'll go more in depth on that. I'm Mark with Think Insurance. I'll see you in the next one.